Good morning from the Trumbo Farmhouse. This is Megan and the Trumbo Tribe Adventure. You're on the Homemaking with Megan section on this channel. And today we're doing a very special cooking video. It's Saturday, March 19th, just a couple days after St. Patty's Day, and just a few days past a birthday that we had in the home. Our second boy, DJ, who turned 15. Every year around St. Patty's Day and DJ's birthday, we like to cook up a big corned beef and cabbage meal and kind of combine it and just celebrate it all. We're starting early because we got to get these corned beef briskets cooking, and we're going to do this in the crock pot. I got 4 big chunks of meat here, and I bought all these at Aldi's. The price on these was ranging from $22 to $15. We're gonna get these in the crock pot and they're gonna cook on low for about 6 to 7 hours. Okay, let's get started on all these Irish farmhouse recipes for a whole Irish meal to share with family later today. Okay, we got our corned beefs in the crock pots. Some people like to cut up carrots and potatoes and put them in there. And of course the cabbage goes in there, but I do not like to put my cabbage in right away because I feel it just gets too wilted or even like burnt tasting. So the cabbage will go in about 2 hours before it's done. This is super simple. Just throw it in the crock pot, put the seasoning on it. As you saw earlier in the video, we're making a different type of potato for the side. We will not have potato chunks. I've made it that way before where I put the potatoes inside there and they cooked all day with it, but we're gonna have a different Irish inspired mashed potato recipe going on. So, here we go. Okay, we're moving on to the next recipe, and I have a little helper here. He loves to mix and whisk, right? That's when he comes into the kitchen. To mix and whisk. And we are going to do just that because we are making Irish oatmeal soda bread. Any meal is just not complete without some type of bread, a dinner roll, something to put butter on, especially with soup. I love dipping rolls into soup with butter. I know you can't have that all the time. It's not healthy for you. But this bread paired with some Irish butter, yum. So let's get started. Are you ready to whisk?
Yes.
Okay. We're gonna start with putting the oven on 425. What do we need for soda bread? We're gonna need some flour, baking soda, salt, buttermilk, oat flour, but I went to 2 stores and I could not find any oat flour, so we're gonna really quickly mix up our own oat flour here with my blender.
I'm gonna be making a total of 3 soda bread loaves, and each loaf is gonna take 1 cup of oat flour. So right now I'm going to blend together 3 cups of oat flour, and that's what we're gonna use.
Let's see. Did it make a flour? How about it? It made a flour. Look at that. Yeah, it did. Luke just wants to keep doing it. Are you ready to whisk? This is the whisking moment for you. Okay, here's your whisk. All right, we're gonna make 1 loaf at a time. 1 loaf is gonna take 3 cups of flour. 1 regular flour. 2 3. There we go. 3 cups of flour and 1 cup of our oat flour. What? Hold on. I gotta get it all in there. We don't want to waste any. Okay. Wait, a little bit more. Okay.
I'll have it.
You want to pour that one? Got it. Okay, start mixing that together, buddy. And we'll put in our salt and soda. We're gonna need 1 teaspoon of salt. Okay. Good job. And 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Get the baking soda in. Good job. Mix it up, bud. Mix it, mix. Hold the bowl. Hold the bowl. All right, Luke, I'm gonna take your dry floured mixture over here for a second, and we're gonna get the buttermilk in there. And 1 loaf is going to take 1 3/4 cup of buttermilk.
And I'm gonna have it.
Here's 1 cup, and here's where my whisk comes in, Luke. I'm going to stir it as we get the buttermilk going in there. Look, it's gonna turn into a dough. Okay, we're gonna make this into a dough ball and then knead it. Oh my goodness, look at this bread. It turned out so good. It's crispy on the outside and it's gooey on the inside. We are now going to prep and cook up a traditional Irish leek and potato soup. I heard this pairs really good with the Irish soda bread, so I can't wait to try that. This is the first time I'm making this. This is the first time I'm using or doing anything, cooking with leeks. I've never had leeks in my kitchen, never seen them before, so when I saw these ingredients, I was like, what is a leek? I didn't even know what it looked like and how to cook with them. So here is a leek. For this Irish traditional leek and potato soup, you're gonna need some leeks, onions, potatoes, russet, sweet peas, I'm using frozen, some black pepper, butter, and chicken stock.
Okay, I'm going to be tripling the soup recipe. Soup is so easy to make. You can't really go wrong with it when it comes to how many vegetables you want to put in it. The normal soup recipe without tripling or doubling it calls for 1 onion and actually more leeks, but I am using less leeks and more onion. These leeks are huge, and I think they're gonna fill up my soup very well. And as far as the potatoes go, we love potatoes, and especially in our soup, so I'm going to use a lot of potatoes. I think the normal recipe calls for maybe 4 potatoes. We're gonna use more than that.
We got all of our vegetables prepped. We're gonna move to the stovetop. All right, you're gonna need a nice sized soup pot. I'm using a gigantic one for my gigantic family. All right, to start, you'll need 4 tablespoons of butter, but since I'm tripling this, I got 12 tablespoons of butter. Start melting that butter. Right, once that butter is really getting melted down, we're gonna start with sauteing all of our vegetables that's going into this soup. So, start with the onions, the leeks, and the potatoes. All right, we got this cooked down in 5 minutes here. Now we're going to put in our chicken stock, and it calls for 3.5 cups. So, but we're tripling this, so we are going to be putting in. But we're tripling this, so we are going to have 10.5 cups of chicken stock. Put the lid on and let it simmer for about 15 minutes until everything is nice and tender. And then we're gonna add our peas.
All right, we are about 2 hours out before our corned beef gets done cooking, and I'm gonna start prepping the cabbage to put in there and cook the rest of the way and wilt down nicely with the corned beef.
All right, it's ready for the peas. Everything is nice and tender. This calls for 1/2 cup of peas, but we're going to do 2.5 cups of peas.
This Irish leek and potato soup recipe calls for it to be creamy and very green. So in order to get that effect, we need to blend this all together in my blender. And the green effect comes from the peas blended all together. It makes it nice and creamy and very green. If you like chunky soup though, keep it as is. But for this St. Patty's Day party, we're going green.
Okay, I'm gonna try this. It's really good. Wow, really good. Okay, the last Irish recipe that we're going to work on, and it's going to complete the whole Irish spread, is the Irish call this Colcannon? Colcannon? I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, I'm sorry. But it sounds pretty good, I've never made it, but it's their signature certain way they eat mashed potatoes. So, I have a pot on the verge of boiling here, and I had my son cut up a bunch of potatoes. So that's how you start it off, just as we do. So we're going to boil these potatoes. All right, we're gonna get these boiling and find out what the certain twist is, what makes it Irish mashed potatoes in a little bit.
Okay, you gotta have butter for any mashed potato, so here goes the butter. And that butter is also going to help me saute the first ingredient that I'm gonna put into these mashed potatoes that turns it into an Irish mashed potato. And that first ingredient is chopped kale. Hey, it's green. It is perfectly fitting for Irish mashed potatoes. Once the kale is all wilted down and cooked and covered in butter, add your potatoes to the kale. And of course you need milk for mashed potatoes, and I am just eyeballing this until I get the right consistency I want for my mashed potatoes. And the second ingredient that makes these mashed potatoes Irish special is horseradish sauce. Yes, horseradish. And I am putting 3 tablespoons into mine. The normal recipe calls for 1. And once you have all those ingredients together, start mashing your potatoes just how you like. I am using this tool here because my mixer machine just recently broke on me, so I am mashing these by hand. And lastly, I'm adding in some salt to taste. Okay, we are getting down to the wire here. It's almost time for guests to arrive and this Irish/birthday party to begin. The corned beef is done. It's ready to serve. It looks good. It smells good. I have my husband here helping me to get it all cut up and put in this nice serving dish. Okay, the race is on. We are setting the table now, getting everything ready. Guests are just about to arrive. All these farmhouse Irish recipes were so yummy and none of them disappointed.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear DJ.
Don't spray the cake.
Happy birthday to you.
Well, that is a wrap, guys.